and welcome to this week's What's for Dinner. I'm Rachel, and this week I am sharing a little bit of home decor, some fun with my grandkids, and of course we had to eat. Our family kicked off October with a bonfire and some home improvement. The first week of October was busy and I got to check some things off my fall bucket list. First, we're starting off with a Hocus Pocus pizza party with a couple of my little goblins. We had some Little Caesars pizza and some fruit punch, some Jell-O cups, and of course we had a variety of different kinds of chips to go with our pizza. And we had these fun Hocus Pocus plates and napkins that I picked up from Dollar General. We just had a regular pepperoni pizza, and then this one, I can't remember what it's called, but it has the extra spicy pepperoni on it. So I had a piece of that spicy pepperoni pizza and some Italian cheese bread. And we settled in to watch our movie, and we had loads of fun. We spent our evening cuddled up by the TV watching Halloween movies. The following night we went to a bonfire. There was loads of food, but I didn't film any of it. Sundays are when I generally begin my What's for Dinner videos, but on this Sunday I had some of the kids over. My son was doing a little bathroom remodel for me, and we ended up just having some simple sandwiches. Bill picked up some different lunch meats. This is called campfire chicken, and it had a really smoky flavor to it. And here I'm just putting together a couple of really big sandwiches. So whenever I make a sandwich for dinner, you know I always say, if you're going to have a sandwich for dinner, have a sandwich for dinner. Make it a big one. I mean, you want to get your bellies full, right? So we probably go a little overboard, but that's just reality. Is if we eat a sandwich for our dinner, we like it loaded up, like, you know, a Dagwood sandwich. If you're old enough to know who Dagwood was, and I'm not saying that you are, but I am. So I am just putting some mustard and some mayonnaise on these sandwiches. Now, this was the first day that I cracked open my Duke's mayonnaise, and everybody always talks about how good this is, and I was pretty much thinking there can't be that much to mayo. Mayo is mayo. I've never been really impressed by a mayo. And so I was really kind of curious to give this one a try. And I have to say that this was really good stuff. I am so glad that I bought the extra huge jar of it from Sam's Club, because I may actually have been won over by the Duke's mayonnaise. This is really good. So we just had some macaroni salad and potato salad that was picked up at the deli along with our sandwiches. These are some really huge sandwiches, but I still can't get over it, obviously. These, I forgot to even put any lettuce or tomato or anything like that on it, so it's just basically meat, cheese, mayo, and mustard. And I was a little overwhelmed this day. We had a house full of people. It took a long time to do the work that we were doing on our half bath downstairs, so it is what it is, and we all got fed, and that's all that mattered. I think we still had some of those chips left over that day, so we just had those available too. I really must say that I just wasn't feeling well all week, and it could be that we squeezed so much into our weekend and we didn't get any downtime that, you know, still going through the grieving process with losing my dad. And so I just really wanted to keep meals as simple as possible. So there really isn't all that much to see, except you know, just putting some simple things together like this bagged salad. We ended up making some smoked sausage, which I just fried up in a skillet. And we had some instant mashed potatoes on this night with some gravy. Nothing fancy there at all, not even exciting, but you know, it was just kind of something to put on a plate and call a meal. I actually am a fan of these bagged salads. I did add a little bit of extra cheese, and then I had picked up these hands from somewhere. I can't remember where. It was a while back, and I just put them aside for Halloween. I don't know. I'm really tickled by that. But these little skeleton hands, I just used to toss our salad. I just thought they were so cute. After my water was boiling, I just put those instant mashed potatoes into the water, and I'm holding my pan up off of the eye because it was super hot. And you want to remove your pan. You don't want to continue to boil the potatoes after you put them in the water. So that's kind of why I was holding it up like that. I added 2 pieces of jalapeno cheese. Is that what it's called? Hot pepper cheese, pepper jack cheese. That's what it is. And some bacon bits. These were the loaded instant mashed potatoes. So I just added a little bit more of that bacon and some cheese to them. And they were really kind of good for a change. So I'm just plopping a scoop of mashed potatoes onto my plate along with that salad. I did add a little bit more dressing to my salad as well. And then a couple pieces of that smoked sausage. As you can see, we like ours burnt. And that was dinner. It was super easy, but it wasn't bad. I did enjoy the salad the best out of everything on the plate. Oh, and I did heat up a jar of brown gravy for everyone else, but I didn't want that on my potatoes. Like I said, I was looking for simple meals all week long, and here I am just cooking up some meat for some taco salads, and I made some dirty rice to go on the side. I was able to go out in my garden and still pick a couple of tomatoes, so that is really incredible to me that we're still getting tomatoes in October here in Michigan. So this one tomato was super big and was plenty for what we needed. This tomato was so sweet too. It's just really strange to me, but anyway, I am super grateful that we are still getting tomatoes, and I even got a zucchini and a pumpkin out of my garden on this day. So I just got to work getting that tomato all chopped up into bite-sized pieces, and then I just put that aside and continued to cut up an avocado for me. I'm the only one that eats avocados in my house, and sometimes I am glad when I'm the only one that likes something. That way I get to have it all to myself. There aren't too many things that I get to have all to myself. So this avocado is all mine. I just sprinkled a little bit of salt on my avocado and also on those tomatoes just to enhance the flavor. I picked up these orange and black tortilla chips from Big Lots. I don't even know if I shared that grocery haul with you all. I know a lot of things kind of went sideways for me, but here is my plate. I'm adding that meat. I did make that dirty rice, and I added a little bit of tomato bouillon to that just to spice it up and give it some color. I put some cheese and some of those tomatoes on my taco salad, and I think I'm kind of building this backwards, but you know, that's just how my little brain works sometimes. So there's my green on there because you got to have some color, right? And so then I just put a tiny bit of lettuce on my taco salad. I do not do well with plain lettuce, so we're just going to keep it light. And anyway, I'm just adding a little bit of ranch on here. It's something that my husband does quite frequently, and I didn't have any sour cream, so I gave it a try. I also put some hot sauce on there, and I have to say it was very tasty. Next, because I want to be festive too, and I just don't have the energy or the mental capacity to do anything too complicated, I picked up these Pillsbury bake and bake or take and bake cookies, whatever you want to call them, and I'm just getting them on my greased pan that goes into my air fryer toaster oven thing. And it said not to, or on an ungreased pan, but I had already sprayed mine with nonstick cooking spray, so we just went with it and it was fine. I don't trust this pan anyway. I've had a lot of things burnt onto it, so you never know if something is going to stick. And so those I just popped into my air fryer toaster oven thingamajig and turned it on. The package directions said 350 for blah 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 minutes. I can't remember. And so here they are when they came out. No fuss. These were super easy, super cute, not homemade, but who cares? I'll take my ribbon for simply participating in fall this year. And so another easy meal. I was on my way home and Bill asked me if I wanted to have fried chicken from the grocery store. I said that would be fine. So it was boom, boom, boom. Heat up some tater tots and some canned corn. There's nothing to see here. This was just a really simple, get it on the plate kind of dinner for the middle of the week. Next we have one of our favorite one-dish wonders. Goulash, or goulash if you're making it around Halloween time. We actually make goulash all year round. It is actually one of our family's favorite meals. And it's always one that comes to mind when I think of comfort food. Here I am just getting my ground beef cooked up with some chopped up bell peppers and onions. Now I know some people cook the meat first and then cook the onions and bell peppers in the pan after they remove the meat. And I know some people cook up the onions and the peppers in the pan and then remove them and then add the meat. I just cook it all together. And I'm just boiling up my elbow macaroni in a separate pan. I have my tomatoes from our garden, which I processed and put in the freezer this summer. So I just plop them right in there, kind of thawed out, kind of not. And then those hot, kind of cooked macaronis went right on top to kind of help along that process of getting those tomatoes thawed out. And I'm seasoning everything with just some simple salt and pepper and garlic powder. Now my family likes spicy goulash, so I am adding crushed red pepper flakes. My kids have always eaten spicy goulash since they were little kids. They just were used to it because that's what I liked. And so here is our finished goulash, and I'm just serving up some cottage cheese on the side. Like I said, this is spicy goulash, so we like to have that cool cottage cheese to tone it down. And then I'm also just going to do some bread and butter to go on the side. Goulash always comes together pretty quickly and easily with very few ingredients, and it's just one of our family's favorites. We like to sprinkle on a little Parmesan cheese in the end, or maybe even top it with some fresh cheese or fresh shredded cheese. And I am one of those people that eats everything in the same bowl. For the next dinner, Bill and I just needed to get out of the house together and just go out to dinner. We went to Logans Roadhouse and had dinner together without any kids. Every now and then you just have to date your spouse. Of course, we started off with some yummy rolls and butter and some side salads. We also shared a side of fried mushrooms with the horseradish sauce. And I ended up having a little steak with a baked sweet potato and some ribs. And Bill ordered the country fried steak. I have to laugh at this tiny amount of gravy that they put on his country fried steak, although it wasn't really that funny at all. To make up for the cold mashed potatoes and the country fried steak with no gravy, I decided to make a delicious fall dessert. First, I'm getting my cast iron pan greased up. I wanted to make sure it was nice and greased since this pan is a little on the rough side, and I'm using a boxed brownie mix. I'm just preparing it according to the box directions with the oil and the water and the egg as it called for. Once I have all the ingredients in a bowl, I'm just going to mix those all together until there are no dry particles remaining. Next, I'm going to take this sleeve of graham crackers, and I'm using about this many. And I'm just going to crunch them up into big chunky pieces right into the brownie batter. I'll share the recipe for this Skillet S'mores Brownie in my description box, which calls for ingredients to make the brownies from scratch. But you know me, I'm going to take the help from the box whenever I can. And so all I'm doing here is roughly mixing, or not roughly, but gently mixing them into the crackers into the brownie batter. And you just want it to be nice and chunky. And then I'm going to put that batter mix into my greased cast iron skillet. And I'm sure if you don't have a cast iron skillet, you could make this just as well in a regular brownie pan. But this cast iron skillet brownie s'mores recipe was just screaming fall to me, so that's why I chose it. I also had all the ingredients on hand for s'mores, so I figured why not. And I'm just spreading out my brownie batter into the pan, and then I'm going to come back in with some more graham crackers and just kind of crush those up on top. You just want enough to make it look like s'mores, you know, because there's graham crackers in the brownies, but when you look at it, you want it to say, hey, this is a s'mores recipe. And so next I'm taking my big marshmallows and cutting them in half because I didn't have any mini marshmallows on hand. Ideally, I think that would have been quicker. This wasn't very hard to do at all anyway, but I mean, just do what you want. Cut them smaller if you want, leave them whole if you want. It really doesn't matter. I just chose to take my marshmallows and cut them in half with my kitchen shears. And if there were amounts that were supposed to be used, I don't know, because I didn't actually read the recipe. I looked at the picture and said, hey, I can do that. And then I just went ahead and did it my way. Next, I'm sprinkling on some of these milk chocolate chips, which I don't know if that's really necessary because your brownie is your chocolate, but I figure you can never have enough chocolate. And the chocolate chips could only increase the goo factor. Next, I'm just putting them in my oven on 350 degrees for 30 minutes. And then this is how they turned out. You can leave it in longer if you want your marshmallows to be more toasty than this. But I thought this was just the right amount of toast on those marshmallows. Sorry, I'm having trouble speaking today. And so while they were still hot, I decided that it was time to dish them up. I believe the recipe said that you wanted these to be a little on the undercooked side so that they were nice and gooey, and that the whole point was having to eat them with a spoon. So I think that I possibly accomplished that. And these brownies came out of the pan so nice and clean. The pan just was not sticky. There wasn't a whole lot of scraping that needed to be done. So I was pretty happy about that. I was a little nervous about how well my cast iron skillet would do, and hoping for the best as far as cleanup was concerned, but it did really well, and I didn't have any of the brownies sticking. I think if I would have let them go a few minutes longer, I may have gotten that crispy edge around the bottom of the brownie, and that would have been so good too. And here's an up-close and personal peek at how these melty marshmallows and chocolatey chips on top with those crunchy graham crackers, this was so delicious. and give me all the fall feels. That's all for this week's video. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you had fun here today, please consider hitting the subscribe button so you can see more of my future videos. Bye for now.